Okay, so we are going to be looking at the assignment that you guys are going to have to turn in at the end of this semester, which actually is just in a couple of weeks because the online courses go a little bit at a different schedule than the courses that you're taking in school. So what I've got pulled up is Unit 9, Lesson 9, and if you see there, it's got the full information of this paper. This paper goes along with the parallel reading novel that you guys have been working on, so it could be Into the Wild, The Glass Castle, or Slaughterhouse-Five. And what you guys are going to be doing is you're writing a literary analysis that will look at a predominant theme within that book. It's the theme that you've picked and that you've been picking quotes for all along earlier this semester, and you're going to be using those quotes and integrating them into your literary analysis. So if you take a look, your essay should be 4 to 5 pages long, which means if I were you, I'd be shooting for about 4.5 pages. You do not want to exceed 5 pages. If you do that, then you are going to get docked on points. You also don't want to be less than 4 pages, so stay right within that range. Here's your actual prompt. It says, write a literary analysis discussing the predominant theme of your parallel reading. You must include quotes from the novel as well as from your research, critical essays, and articles to support your theme choice and analysis. The critical essay is when you went on to Mackinvia and you did some searches and you found a critical essay and you used some quotes from there. That's the critical essay that we're talking about when we're giving you that prompt there. What I've done is I've given you a packet that gives you step by step everything that you guys are going to need to know as you're going through this. So if you take a look here, this is the first page of the packet, and it's giving you the basic reminders. These are things that we've talked about all semester, right? Not using contractions, not using personal pronouns, not using vague wording. So use this as a little checklist. After you've written your paper, you can kind of go back through and look for those things, make sure that you don't have them in there. The next thing that we have on there is the introductory paragraph. And this literally takes you sentence by sentence. So that first one is your attention grabber. It's giving you an idea of what you can use there. Then you're going to be talking about the author and the work that you're discussing. This is your introduction, right? You have to assume that you're not just writing this paper for me. You're writing it for somebody that doesn't know what the assignment was, so you have to introduce it. You're going to give summary statements, and then you're going to end that paragraph with your thesis statement. Your thesis statement is the backbone of your paper. So I would like it if you would go ahead and start working on your thesis statement now. Go ahead and email it to me, and I can give you some feedback on that, because if your thesis statement is weak, then your entire paper is likely to be weak as well. Alright, so along with that idea with the thesis statement, the next page is going to take you through all of the parts and pieces of a thesis statement. The biggest thing is that it needs to be clear and then it needs to be arguable. So you need to give enough information that's going to describe what you'll be talking about for the rest of the paper, but it should also be arguable. So if I wanted to maybe say, well, no, I think the theme is something different, I would be able to argue that. It's going to give you some examples of what's good, what's not so good, and then some practice at writing that thesis. And once again, once you get that written, you can send that to me, and I will go over it with you. The next page is probably the most important page. This is for your body paragraph setup. For this paper, you're probably going to have about 3 body paragraphs, maybe 4, although I don't know that you're going to have room for 4 body paragraphs with everything that you're going to need to include. Again, this goes sentence by sentence. So your first sentence of your paragraph should be A. Second sentence should be B. Third sentence should be C, right? You need to go through, use this guide as the format for what you guys are going to be writing. I've given explanations of each part and piece in here. And this is something that I've kind of developed over the years as I've seen what students really need, and what you need is help in deciding what to write, and this gives you exactly that. All you have to do is fill it in with the information that's specific to your novel. One of the things that you guys aren't doing so well so far are lead-ins and analysis. So right before you introduce a quote, you need to lead into that. So that's part B on here, and it's also part F. There's examples of lead-ins on here, so you can maybe kind of get an idea of what I'm looking for. and make sure that you're doing that. The other part is the analysis. After you use your quote, you need to analyze that quote, and by analyze it, I mean connect it back to your thesis, take it a little bit deeper. Don't just tell me what the quote said, right? Don't just restate it. You need to actually analyze it. So take it one step further. There's some ideas here of how to use your wording when you're doing that commentary and analysis, so you don't have to say the word this quote or whatever, right? You can talk about the purpose, the importance, the effect, what it suggests, but use effective wording there. Finally is the page on the conclusion paragraph. What you have here is a kind of do this, not this type setup. I've given you what a conclusion should be and absolutely what it should not be. For a lot of people, that conclusion paragraph is the hardest paragraph of the paper. So you're going to want to kind of pay special attention to this to make sure you're not doing the things that a lot of people do when they write their conclusion. Basically, your conclusion paragraph should kind of open it up to a course of action or further development. Why is this topic important to the bigger picture? All right, and then finally is your rubric. Everybody wants a rubric because you want to know how you're going to be graded, right? So on the rubric, you're going to see exactly what I'm going to be looking at, how I'm going to be grading it, and you've got all the parts and pieces there of what you should be doing in order to get the full credit. Underneath, you're going to see that you will get a score for your works cited page, so make sure that that's done correctly. You're going to have at least 2 sources on your works cited page, the novel that you're reading and the critical analysis. That critical analysis piece needs to come into play in at least one of your body paragraphs, so make sure that you get that in there. If you miss anything, for instance, for MLA format or the length isn't good or some other type of error, you're going to see those subtractions there, and then you'll get your full score. Now, when we look back at the actual assignment, what you'll notice is on number 4, it says your rough draft is worth 100 points. The rubric shows a 200-point scale. That's because the rubric is designed for that final paper. When you turn in the final paper, it's worth 200 points. So altogether, this assignment is worth 300 points. For your rough draft, assuming that you turn it in on time, that you do everything you're asked to do, and that you include everything you should have, you will get the completion grade that you did everything. So you can get 100% on it. However, what I do is I hand grade these essays. So when you get your essay back, it's going to be like a scanned PDF, and you're going to see my handwritten comments all over your paper. And I'll tell you, just as a warning, there will be writing all over it. Writing is a process. You're not going to get it right the first time. I wouldn't get it right the first time. But that's why we do this. So it's for you to kind of get some really good solid feedback on your writing, and then you get a chance to redo that. You need to pay attention to that feedback and give yourself at least a week to get those edits done, and then get it turned back in, because it's not just going to be fix a word here, fix a word there. You may have to change the entire content of a body paragraph or of the critical essay piece that you're using or whatever it is. So just pay really close attention to that feedback. In order for you to get a score for the final paper, for that 200-point part, you have to turn in the rough draft. So you have to do assignment 9.9 before you can do the very last assignment, which is the final draft of this paper. You can't have a final draft if you've never turned in a rough draft. Okay? So just make sure you pay attention to that. Everything is in MLA. You should have MLA parenthetical citations. You should have a works cited page. All your margins and everything should be everything like what we've been working on all semester long. So if you have any questions on any of that, you need to let me know. All right, so again, 4 to 5 pages. You're looking at the theme. It's a thematic analysis. You're including a critical essay from Mac and Via that you found. And everything needs to be in MLA format. So again, you're going to get 100 points for that rough draft, assuming you turn everything in. and you'll have up to 200 points on the final draft depending on, you know, your revisions and edits and how much you've progressed as a writer between the 2 edits. All right, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. This is a huge assignment, so start now. And like I said, you can always email me that thesis statement if you want to kind of make sure that you're on the right track. All right? Good luck.